Hello! What's up, party people? As I address you from the corner of your screen for Honest Trailer Commentaries.
Don't worry.
No. We just grew, much like She-Hulk, today's Honest Trailer. Yeah, that's
a transition.
Thank you, man. Today we're going to watch a trailer, give you our thoughts and feelings about the whole series in general. We will show you some deleted scenes. We'll answer some questions and comments, so keep those coming in the chat. On that side, who knows?
Chat with me.
I'll find out later. And then we will tease you with next week's Honest Trailer, which should be a fun one.
Yeah. Divisive already.
As we were all singing in the elevator on our way here, She-Hulk, She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, She-Hulk, ooh baby, when she hulks, she hulks.
So, what did you think of She-Hulks?
I really liked She-Hulk. I've been a fan of the comic forever, and this feels like one of the most like comic accurate adaptations of like an MCU show, and I liked that this didn't feel like a 6-hour movie chopped up into episodes. Like it felt like a sitcom, because that's what it is, a sitcom. And I think if you go into it with, I'm gonna watch this fun superhero sitcom show, and not be so like, well, but how does this tie into like the greater MCU, and like how does it do this and how does it do that, and it's like, no, just sit back and just like watch the funny jokes. Then I think that like you enjoy it a lot more. But I do think that one thing the MCU has done, and we've talked about this before, is it creates this expectation of like, okay, how does this fit into the big universe? How is this moving towards whatever the big bad is going to be? And they wind up kind of locking themselves into that. So a lot of people watching the show, looking for that kind of thing, were like, well, what is this? Why is she twerking?
What is this? Why is she twerking?
Why is she twerking?
This show grew on me, but it grew on me from like, no, to, so I thought that
you got a mild case of She-Hulkism.
Yeah.
You brushed it off. You brushed it off.
I thought it didn't do any favors. The first episode was not my thing. I did not, and it didn't help that was the first episode. Because it does tie into your expectations for this, because my expectations were legal procedural set in the MCU. And I was like, nice. I love my SVU. I love my Ally McBeal from back in the day. Like, I'm down for a courtroom. Like, let's see what happens when all these superhero cases go to court.
Right.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that that was not what I expected. Once I abandoned my expectations and realized that to me what the show is like dating in LA. It's like a character study of Jen. Like it's
but
about
Spencer, to be fair, dating in LA.
Dating in LA. And I would say it's like a mid version of that kind of show, which also exists elsewhere.
Sure.
Which got me to raise my review from no to
All right.
Lon, what'd you think?
I feel like you could take my review of just about every Disney Plus MCU show and like cut and paste it here. I did not like the pilot. I did not think it did a good job of like, here's what this show is going to be. It just felt like this long conversation between Bruce and Jen that I wasn't that into. I was not really into the finale. It felt like a cop-out. Instead of like wrapping up the actual show we'd been watching, it felt like, let's just get out of this and do a silly thing. And it was like a lot like Loki. Like, let's just have a conversation that has nothing to do with anything else from the rest of the show, and then we'll move on. But having said that, the middle, I always like the middles. And this one, I like the middle again. Like, from the wedding episode through the Daredevil episode, like 6, 7, 8, I think it is. Those are great. Like, some of the best stuff, I think, from the entirety of the Disney Plus MCU canon so far. It's funny. It's, like, quirky and weird. It really does do that. Like, let's take a look at what life in this kind of a world would be like for people. Not in a god is down the street throwing fireballs at you, but in just like a regular way. Like, what would it be like? Like, oh, there's a sorcerer supreme and he could like mess with me, or like I wanted to buy a superhero suit, but it didn't work right. And like, I really like that approach and like the way that they could take on those stories. And I thought it was funny. I thought like the writing was genuinely funny sometimes, and Jen was a good character, and Tatiana Maslany did a good job and was very likable in the role. So I liked all that. I just feel like I really wish these Disney Plus shows would be real TV shows and treat their pilots and treat their season finales, take them seriously, treat them like real shows. Don't just assume that we're going to be invested in them because we like the MCU, and like, I don't know, do the work. Like that is really sort of how I feel about a lot of this stuff.
Well, let's do our work and stop and start as we have thoughts with the honest trailer for She-Hulk.
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 Jennifer She-Hulk.
Of the Boston Schultz.
Of the Boston, the lawyer She-Hulk.
You've already seen superheroes break the fourth wall,
Oh, hello.
balance their law practice with beatdowns, and explore what goes on when the costumes come off.
This is hero-gasm.
But the MCU's newest hero is here to remind us she's been doing all of that since 1995. I mean, it's kind of stale now, but she was first.
Yeah, pause. I think this definitely suffers from John Carter syndrome, which is that like
Yeah.
they
Everything
made
is
the they made the movie after everybody else had ripped off the movie. And you were saying that you've been following since the comics, and I think that someone said She-Hulk really started in '89, but '95 was that famous run from what's his face?
John Byrne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it really became like, the version of like the stuff that we know.
Yeah.
And then there was another great run. Was it Dan Slott's? I know he had a really good run too, but there was another one that was very. What'd you say, Ryan?
I believe you're right. I think it was
Thank you. I like being right. But I believe it. But that was another one that I think really highly like informed this. Where in that one they would actually take like comic books and use them as evidence.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really like they really fully went into the meta.
So there you go. We've been meta since '95 at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, this stuff. Like, obviously, it's true She-Hulk was doing all of these beats a long time before a lot of these movies and TV shows were kind of like picking it apart and deconstructing comic books themselves. But there's so many comic books. There have been comic books for like 100 years. And I do feel like you get this argument on the internet a lot like, well, but that's from the comics. It's like everything is from the comics. Like, you can go back and find literally every trope, every storytelling device that's ever been invented in a comic. You still have to make it work in the project that it's in. Like yes, She-Hulk in the comics breaks the fourth wall. Yes, She-Hulk in the show could break the fourth wall. Nobody's arguing that can't happen. But when the entire season finale is She-Hulk breaking the fourth wall, I don't know. It kind of feels like overkill to me. So, like, the fact that it's in the comics is, like, yeah, great, of course. I don't feel like that's well, now it can go anywhere and we can use it however we want because it's in the comics.
Yeah. Well, I feel differently about the finale, but we'll get to the finale.
Yeah,
at the
we'll deal
finale.
with the finale.
Let's keep playing.
All right.
She-Hulk, attorney at law. Meet Jennifer Walters, a milestone in representation for public servants who move on to more lucrative corporate gigs.
Take some time.
I accept.
After that time, she went full Targaryen with her cousin. She'll become She-Hulk, a lawyer committed to greenwashing her firm's new image. But don't worry if you're not into those lawyer shows.
Lawyer show.
It's mostly about this beautiful rich woman's impossible quest to find a good man. Ew, just imagine if Tatiana Maslany could cover your rent and turn into a hotter version of herself. It's gross just to think about it. Blech.
Yeah, pause. They did I feel like they did the rom-com thing where it's like, she's so awkward.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they fully
She's
she's all that.
clumsy.
It's like you can't she's all that. Tatiana Maslany. Like,
She's got paint on her overalls.
Yeah.
gross.
I mean, yeah, the idea that Tatiana Maslany is some sort of like hopeless, because it's not even like, oh, she just hasn't had a good date in a while. She's it's been a rough patch.
Right.
That's like, she's pathetic. She can't find him, and no one likes her. She has to be green and 8 foot tall to get a man. And it's like, she's adorable, guys. Like, I don't like. It's
She's
just
a
not,
lawyer. She has her own home.
Yeah, it's just like not believable that people would not be climbing all over each other for a date with Tatiana Maslany. I'm sorry, you got to like do something to convince us that. It's like, it reminded me a little bit of Ready Player One when Olivia Cook is like, don't look at me, I'm hideous. And then she's got like
I have this
a
very
light
aesthetic,
birthmark.
cool birthmark across
Like,
my eye.
like a little portion of my face. It's like, you're beautiful.
Yeah, you're still pretty gorgeous.
Yeah, well. Yeah. All right, keep going.
As She-Hulk fights the half of humanity Thanos forgot to warn you about. Men.
There's a hot chick over there. I'm gonna go talk to it.
As she's attacked by online misogynists,
They're just trolls.
dating app dinguses,
What a specimen. How much can you deadlift?
or those nice guys who you just know are full of it.
Yes, I feel I have been rehabilitated emotionally, physically, metaphysically.
Pause. Great
spiritually.
performance by Tim Roth. I thought he was
Fantastic.
so funny.
Yeah.
And has he done comedy before?
I mean, he's been in stuff that's funny. He's not like the Joker kind of character. But
I know
like,
that he, from personal sources, I have sources, that he took himself very seriously on Lie to Me. That he was not.
Oh, really?
He was a very, he was the star of the show.
Yeah,
And he demanded a certain level of seriousness and dedication to the human lie detector show that he started.
He was very funny in 4 Rooms.
But like that's what I mean. Like he's funny for Rubes, like a lot of the Tarantino stuff. In Twin Peaks, he was in the Twin Peaks: The Return series, and he was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I was saying it was hard to watch him in this because I just saw that movie Resurrection before this started with Rebecca Hall. It's a new movie this year, like a psychological thriller, and he is terrifying. He's the villain, and it's so scary. It's as scary as he's ever been.
Well.
So to go from that to this, like.
Nice
within
range.
weeks is like what range
Whiplash,
on Tim Roth.
All
You
right.
gotta be impressed.
Nice. All right. Keep it going.
I see you, Tim Roth. Can't lie to me. But after 7 episodes of foreplay, we finally get to meet one of the good ones, Daredevil.
I'm here.
Charlie Cox returns as the hero everyone wants in their hallway. He's got the look, he's got the skills. And the man without fear is clearly not afraid of keeping his identity secret at all.
Mr. Patilio, what kind of fuel did you use?
Just don't make the sniff noise.
Using your powers in court, bro. Chill.
I have to go. Something has just come up with work.
Urgent legal business in the middle of the night? Across the country from your practice?
Where his sanity is murky, but it's not a bad strategy.
Stop doing that.
Angle this more as a form of traumatic expression due to undiagnosed PTSD.
Now,
Dude,
pause.
wait until the costume is...
We discussed this and debated. My defense of Matt Murdock, if I were his trial lawyer, is I think we're in a universe that's oversaturated with superheroes, and they're regional. It's like Culver's and In-N-Out and like all these franchises.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows
A&W,
Daredevil west of the Mississippi, so he doesn't have to keep it on the
West
DL.
of the Mississippi, west of 60th Street.
Wait, you're right.
He can't go into Midtown.
Yeah, I like to picture him like at the edge of Hell's Kitchen, like, oh, I bet there's crime going on over there, but
Yeah, he has to unlock it like GTA.
let the Lower East Side devil worry about that.
I think that when you're on vacation, like you can you cut loose. No one's
You give legal advice while you're wearing your devil costume, you know.
No one's gonna. This isn't gonna come back to hurt Foggy or something. No one's gonna.
I mean,
no one's gonna
look,
connect the dots.
With Daredevil, it's especially important because of the lawyer. Like, all the lawyering is compromised if people find out that you're going out at night and beating up people you didn't successfully put in
true.
jail. Like,
That's
you're
difficult.
really putting the whole legal practice on the line here, man.
Little suspect. Yeah.
Man, I as a paralegal, former paralegal, that would actually be, I mean, you just at the end of the day, just like punch a dude in the face
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of, like we couldn't get it.
We all
before.
want to.
I like
We all want it.
I like that this show She-Hulk makes it so it's not only like that's Matt, that's what he does. It's like a personal philosophy. Like, no, lawyers should go out at night and beat up the people they didn't get to prosecute during the day. Like,
Oh yeah, the justice system is flawed.
Yeah.
Rehabilitation is impossible.
he's like condescending.
Let's just beat people.
He's condescending to her about it. Like, oh, you're not going out at night and punishing the criminals that get away from you during the day. Like, what? That's just part of lawyering.
I was
Yeah,
also
what
a
are you
little
doing with your
confused.
time?
yeah. Like,
Jen Walters, she switches from DA to defense attorney. Is that is that a thing?
I mean, yeah, people do. People
Okay.
do. In fact, it happens more often than you think, where people who are public servants are like, "Oh, I get paid more if
But-
I go for the people with the like."
But
more
you would
money.
still
Yeah.
specialize. You wouldn't be doing like copyright
No,
law
yeah, you
one
would still
week and then
specialize.
contract law and then product liability cases and then criminal defense. Like,
Yeah.
she's
The criminal
jumping
stuff
around.
would be where it wouldn't. She would usually either be doing civil or she'd be doing like tort
right,
stuff,
but
or she would.
she's doing like,
criminal is,
oh hey, parole this guy, he's a nice guy, and then the next day she's like, give me my name back.
yeah.
Right, IP law. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's doing a little bit of every kind of line. Like, look, it's fine. I'm not trying to be a stick.
Well, and also the clip was too long to drop in the middle of the trailer, but her boss makes it very clear that they hired her to be big and green. he's like, no. You have to be She-Hulk because you are like a human billboard for our law firm. That's why they
Yeah.
want her, which is
you know
and she's
how,
like, cool.
You know how law firms have billboards.
Well, human billboards.
He's like,
Yeah.
she's like Sweet James.
yeah. Dos.
call Jacob or
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Those are LA. Sorry, those are LA.
Very
regional
LA.
Sorry, these are
specific.
bus ads. Yeah,
These are LA. These are our local lawyers that you get.
they did. That was part of the promo for the show. Do you see the?
Yeah,
She-Hulk?
they had a bunch
Yeah.
of them.
I never
up there.
called the number.
Yeah.
I never called the number either, but they also did like a funny social media thing where they had what's her name who plays Titania go and like Jamila, thank you. Go and like love her. I don't know why I can remember her name and like exit out and like put like
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
it was
Clever.
cute.
All
Very
right,
cute.
keep going.
Marketing.
Off to
these
give
days.
legal advice. It's a tell. But Jen won't Hulk smash the patriarchy alone. There's Nikki, her work bestie and actual bestie, because no one in the MCU has friends outside of their job. Lulu, who got screamed at by Freddy Krueger and sewn into the pants of the big Charlie Brown. And Titania, a superhero addicted to social media, played by a supermodel addicted to social media, who goes after supervillains addicted to social media. Oh, plus we get a little Wong, as a treat. Want a gripping legal drama that relies on the lawyer's brilliant minds and the quirks of the American court system? Better call Saul. But if you're looking for a show with more of an Ace Attorney approach, then better send Jen, where the cases feel made up on the fly,
You can't own magic.
You can't trademark a spirit.
resolve in an instant,
The defendant is absolved of all liability. I'm dismissing this case.
and the judges don't give a shit.
Aw.
Because according to the writing a good lawyer show is hard. You couldn't have, I don't know, hired writers from like good legal shows? Just spitballing here.
Oh, is that how it works, Your Honor? Yeah. Get at it.
Pause. Yeah, and it was just interesting reading the interviews about the iterations the show went to. That it was pitched as the season would be the trial of the Abomination, right? And it like a show built around a case, like The Wire, basically, with the Hulk. And it didn't. I guess they just. I don't want to say gave up, but they just. It wasn't working. And look. Sometimes that happens. You have an idea, and then it doesn't end up working on the page.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could have been alleviated by. And granted, I didn't skim through everybody's IMDb by hiring like the writing staff of a legal show.
Yeah, I get the like doing a murder one, like the whole season is going to be one case. Like I get that's too in depth. You know, you just have to think out that case at a level of complexity they probably didn't want to do. Yeah. That makes total sense to me. But I do think to what you're saying, a like case of the week. In addition to whatever Jen drama was going, like have the Jen dating storyline, have all the other storylines, but like a reliable case of the week. Here's what the law firm is working on this week. It relates to superheroes or powers, and it's got that kind of a legal show hook.
Yeah, that would have been more fun for me.
I think that would have been more fun. It would have given the show more of like a through line and more of a structure, so you can hang the other jokes off of that. But it's sturdy. Whereas I think the show kind of feels like episode to episode, you kind of never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, like Titania is like she's big in the first episode, or Titania, excuse me. Yeah. Everybody keeps doing that. And then she reappears as a semi-main antagonist in 4 and 5.
It kind of feels like it's a few different shows. Yeah. At first, it's like, is Jen going to be able to balance being a Hulk and being a lawyer? And then it's like, is Jen ever going to find a man? Because she's so pathetic and lonely. And then it's like, is the world going to define who Jen is? Or is Jen going to like become her own person? And it's just like, I don't know, a little bit more of like focus and like really telling a story rather than just this is good enough. We'll get all these elements in there and fans will like it, which I feel like is where these Disney shows tend to get.
Right. Or let's stop pretending that we're like too prestige for doing procedural stuff. Like let's get back to like here's today's caper.
I mean, I was thinking Star Trek Strange New Worlds is so good, and all they did was let's go back to like Star Trek. Like it's not super complicated. It's not season long plots. It's like, hey, what planet is this? Let's go down there and see what let's go see what these crazy aliens are up to. And it's like that's really all they had to do to fix it. And I do feel like the answer is kind of staring us in the face.
All right, give us a 24-episode second season, but it's just like the people versus Daredevil's costume person, like, or whatever.
Luke something.
Yeah, but that's like one episode, and then Galaga guy versus Shield. Like, let's just keep going. All right, keep going.
So do what everyone else does these days and make up your mind to love or hate this show before you even see it. That isn't as bad as the review bombers made it out to be, but isn't good enough to really defend in court. Because at the end of the day, wait, hold up. Is this already the outro? What about the twerking scene? The Planet Hulk tease? No, we're not done yet. I demand to talk to whoever writes this crap.
Did you remember to dress
No,
the same?
not those idiots. I
Yeah?
want to talk to their boss.
No, Lon, you blew it.
Pacific voice guy.
Why are we ending the trailer here?
Data indicates you retain more viewers when your videos are between 5 and 7 minutes in length.
Well, what if there's more to say?
Viewers will just fast forward to the part with the funny names.
So pause.
Okay, that sucks.
So sad but true. We've when YouTube added those like most viewed, like there's like a little trend graph along the timeline now.
Right, you can see where everybody goes when they start watching.
And people
videos.
are just like dipping out and going straight to where the names are.
Get to starrings.
Get to the starring section.
Listen, the fact that people have a favorite part is good.
You're right. You're right.
You know, like let's look on the bright side.
That's
There's
right.
a thing that we do that people like
like.
enough to skip forward to.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
But it makes me retroactively be like, oh crap, we should write these backwards and like let's spend 80% of the time on the pun names, and 20% of the time on the show.
Are you guys not spending 80% of the time on the pun names?
Right.
I am kind of already doing that.
Oh, nice. All right.
I write out at the very beginning. Here's a little behind the scenes honest trailer tidbit for you folks. The very first thing I do.
You're at the whole cast.
Is I write out every character name in my notes so that while I'm watching, I can just go over and just start dropping ideas So I really do end up thinking about the starrings longer than everything else because I'm thinking about it through the whole process.
Smart thinking. Yep. There you go.
That's smart.
Pro tip. All right. Keep going.
Put a lot of thought into everything except that part. Anything we could do to change their minds?
Be more hateful. Data indicates hate is great for views.
Clearly, but we're honest trailers. If something's good, we say it's good. Mid, bad, etc. It's my gift and my curse.
Recalculating. Have you considered trying to become a wife guy and then cheat on her with?
Okay, forget it. We're done here.
All right, pause. I liked the finale. I thought it was a bold move, a big swing, and until Lon, you pointed out what we say in the tag, which is that wow, Disney Plus shows all end with the hero going outside space and time, having the plot explained to them by a god.
Yeah,
that's happened. This is the 4th time that's happened now.
Yeah,
and there's only been been 6, 7 series.
It's a well they've returned. If it was possible to have Falcon go outside of space time, they would have.
Well,
it's just Anthony Mackie doesn't have those powers.
Yeah. And even then, like, he's still giving, like, that lecture speech.
Oh, yeah, he still goes on TV and is like, no, Senator, do better. But, like, he doesn't actually leave the universe.
I do think that's a trope that cuts across all fiction is, like, the finale, there's going to be a grand thematic wrap-up.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But
it's the fact that it takes place in a void outside the rules of space
like
and
Loki,
time.
they gotta, like, go meet Kang, you know? Like,
at the restaurant at the end of the universe.
Yeah. It's always like, well, let's go to this void and see what's going on there,
Let's go to this, and then the Mark from Moon Knight goes to the underworld.
He's got to go visit the Egyptian
and then
gods.
Mega Ultron has to visit the Watcher void.
Yeah.
Find a new slant.
Go to a void.
Yeah.
Listen. I feel like, you know, it's a little bit of a shortcut. It's a little bit of a cheat. It's not
a Deus Ex Machina, but it's a like the ending of Psycho, where like the psychiatrist is like, well, let me explain to you Norman Bates is suffering from this.
Split. Right. And it's like I invested enough, even though this is a silly show by design. I invested enough in Jen and her world and these cases that I wanted to see that conclude as a story on its own merits and not just get this like, ha, we did a show, da 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 da, Blazing Saddles, and like that's and like I don't know. I found it a little frustrating. I still like the show. I found that a little frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I like it better than the ending that she broke out of, which was just which is like, okay, all right, they're all gonna fight.
The culmination, everybody brawls in court. I mean, to me, the reveal that the main Hulk King, this guy who's been tormenting her the whole time, was the same douchey tech bro she's been dealing with the whole show. It just feels like.
Well, it's got to be someone they've already introduced.
But it just feels like anticlimactic. Like
I did not dive into any fan theories, thank God, while I was watching this. But it's like somebody thinks somebody was Mephisto in this one too.
Well, no, Tim Blake Nelson was the big theory that from the end of Incredible Hulk, because he became the leader. But
I think someone was like, Nikki was wearing like a pentagram or something. Everybody's Mephisto in every Disney Plus show.
Everybody's Mephisto.
Yeah.
Also, WandaVision arguably took place in a void. outside of space and time.
Oh, no, I was thinking that because Catherine Hahn definitely like they go up into the sky and then Catherine Hahn explains chaos magic to her.
Yeah, it's more of a bubble.
It's not quite a void outside of space time, but it's definitely a magical bubble in which all is explained.
Keep going.
Boring.
Single female lawyer.
Fitness for the prosecution. My best friend's hearing. Bruce Brunner.
Bruh.
Tiny Tim and the Abominable Grow-Man. The Goop Troop. Hulk smash that like button. The Man Without Shame.
Yeah.
Pug Life. Stefan Urkel. The Try Guy. You know the one. Too Long. Thanks for everything.
All these Try Guy
Jen
jokes are going to
Walker.
age perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
People will know what we're talking about in 3 weeks.
Y, but it's not where you think.
MADYSMIDIS. I really don't know where the Y goes. It's not where I thought. Law and Ogre. Super Victims Unit.
These are their stories.
Marvel movies all end the same way. Throw a bunch of plot and flash at the audience in the climax.
No, the big showdowns are just for the movies. The shows all end in a void outside space and time, where the thing gets explained to you by a god. See? You're doing it right now.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, good stuff. All right, well, before we move on to the questions, thanks for watching. Why don't you like and subscribe while you're here? We do stuff most days. So
Tomorrow, Andor.
Really?
Yeah, early time too. They'll see it.
You'll see it.
All right, sweet.
I'll be here. Well, I'll be at home, but I'll be on camera.
Perfect.
Maybe more streams.
A rousing plug for Andor. All right, so
Dragon finale next week, maybe.
What finale?
The House of the Dragon finale.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah,
finale.
we could talk
House
that.
Of the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the hot D. Adam Hulbert writes, didn't care to watch the show to offer an opinion, but
There you go.
what are your
Thanks for writing.
What are your thoughts on the She-Hulk effects? Didn't bother me. Whatever.
There are. It's,
I'm watching it on a laptop.
It's scene to scene. Like I think I don't have a problem with the design of it overall. There were a few shots and scenes where it looks a little clunky or it looks a little too smooth for her environment, but it didn't really bother me either.
Yeah.
You get used to it very quickly.
Yeah.
Matan Valencia says, do you think Disney's kind of hoping for the incel straw man reaction to protect their stuff from actual criticism?
What is the incel straw man reaction?
I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I do think we were talking about how internet bullies are popping up as the villain in a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a function of what TV writers think about.
I get it. I think I get it. Okay. So the incel straw man reaction would be like, because this show is getting so much hate, I'm going to say you're not allowed to hate it. You have to like it,
Right.
because otherwise you're aligned with the forces of evil,
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't subscribe to that philosophy. I think it's perfectly like there are a lot of people with sort of toxic takes on the show, but you're also allowed to just not like it for your own reasons.
Yeah, and I mean Disney, like, they don't go into a show being like, how can we get people to crap on our show?
Right.
Like, I don't think anyone's doing that on purpose.
No, I mean, I think it's part of the meta self-awareness of the show is they knew, obviously this was going to happen because it happens to every Marvel or Disney Plus show with a female lead character. So won't that seem funny to people watching where there'll be in real time this backlash happening, but we can call it out even though we made the show in advance.
It was very predictable.
Yeah, you've got to do that if you have that opportunity, and they were right. They called their shot. It really did happen.
But yeah, I encourage you, within reason, to not judge a show by its fan base or haters of, and form your own opinion. And it's interesting. The showrunner from this, Jessica Gao, was that her name?
Yeah.
Who wrote this? Didn't she come from Rick and Morty? Yep. So look,
it's a lot of Rick and Morty in that
example.
room.
So much Rick and Morty.
In that room.
There's a lot of Rick and Morty in the entire Disney Plus MCU at this point.
Yeah. And I will not let, the secondhand shame from Rick and Morty fans affect my enjoyment of Rick and Morty.
Exactly. That's a great example.
That's
a great example.
The conversation around these shows affect whether you like it or not.
I'm going to be on here tomorrow talking about Andor. Like, Star Wars fans are awful, but I still like it.
This one's interesting also from Matan Valencia. After we saw Kevin, where are Kathleen and Bob too?
Oh boy.
I really want to see the drone behind the drone where they go into that room.
The Kathleen Kennedy bot would have to be like a C-3PO look, like a female C-3PO.
God, like on Spaceballs,
Yeah, like dot matrix. There you go.
I think if there's a whole like Marvel executive Avengers or Disney executive Avengers and they all fight like a David Zaslav Zord or something, that's where the real drama is. All right. Well, I skipped outtakes. Let's roll that, and then we'll tease you with next week's trailer.
Starring My Cousin Jenny, Orphan Green, Business Gamora, Hero for Hire, Paralegal Talks with You, Hey Nikki, You So Fine, My Cousin Verde.
A lot of my cousins.
Did Hope just say bruh? Namaste of Execution, The Blue Check, The Devil Advocate, Ronald McDevil, Edna Cold, and Thought Leader. The Defense Shreks. Objection, your ogre. So Jen and Bruce were super close growing up. I hope she didn't have to spend holidays with her uncle.
Watch me go!
It's non-canonical.
I love the Fast and Furious family barbecue ending.
This is the same
But where's Uncle David?
Watch me go!
Non-canonical.
Also, that scene was improvised.
Offer healthcare.
Oh, we actually already covered this during Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Is there some kind of fun for heroes, or did Stark pay you when he was around?
No, they do not.
They're all
broke.
A Disney-owned character referencing a Disney-owned character.
Put on a Pixar movie. When Bing Bong jumps out of the wagon and Inside Out.
Aw, Huck loves Bing Bong.
Yeah, we're getting so many levels deep of things Disney owns at this point,
They could just
including us.
Check's late this
Where's
month.
my check? My money's late.
Well, there's one. I will say there's one scene where they cut to Jen and she's just like having like sad, lonely night at home because she's pathetic, and I think it's great Muppet caper that she puts on the TV, and it's like that's great. I like that there's that level of synergy that they can go through their whole library and be like, what Disney Plus content would a sad person be watching alone? Like they have that depth.
Our
of
internal
catalog.
metrics show that depressed depressed single rich ladies.
We're gonna go with Great Muppet
Think
Caper
Muppet.
or Return to Oz. For this.
Labyrinth maybe.
Yeah.
All right, She-Hulk. We hulked. And then we will be back next week for, oh man, we got some thoughts on this one, but it is a show that will either unite or destroy all the shows and films that came before and after.
Would you say it's one show?
I'd say it's one show.
Rule them all?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. So there's your clue. See you next time for Rings of Power. Bye-bye.